You touched on the topic of Canggu, mentioning that the profitability of Canggu been gradually decreasing, and so an investor enters the market, and immediately there is the first thing, a stereotype regarding that no matter where you invest your money in Bali currently, everything will grow. Bali is the paradise island. It does not matter where you invest, it will grow. But we explain to people, no, Bali is very diverse and there are different areas. So let's delve into this in more detail. Based on the analytical data you possess, which is much deeper than that of many players, which areas should be considered now for future prospects to ensure maximum profitability?
Yeah, but actually it's not the cash flow profitability that has dropped in Canggu. Yes, the cash flow hasn't decreased, and the percentage, because of the entry price. ROI. Yes. What is the most promising right now according to our numbers? The trends of these numbers. This is Bukit. Bukit is definitely, I would say, the most promising area right now. Maybe not the center of Bukit, but the areas closer to the beaches. Uluwatu, that is, yes, Bingin, Uluwatu, Melasti, Balangan. Dreamland, actually we are not a development company, as I told you before the interview. But in 14 years we have built 8 properties and we rarely enter a project only when we can clearly see it. Well, it's impossible not to go there. The location is amazing, the price is great, and the returns for investors are excellent. Our main focus is solely on profitability. So, we have chosen a project of 17 villas that we will build in Balangan, on Balangan Beach. So, we need to launch sales there by the end of this month. That's why we consider this the most promising location right now currently. Why? Why there? Because the land price is much lower. So, essentially in Bukit, yes, even near the beach, you can get a freehold price or a freehold right to build for 80 years, yes. To the company when it is being processed, and upon sale it can be converted back to freehold, meaning Indonesians are buying. You can get this land at the rental price for 25 years in Canggu. That is around 50 million, for example. Well, yes, basically. That's why capitalization is starting to work here too, yes, better. And liquidity is definitely increasing because Indonesians are buying a lot on the market. Most of the sales now are even coming from Indonesians. They are buying. If you look at all the property and land there are a lot of Indonesians in the market right now, and their percentage is increasing. They practically do not consider leasehold, meaning only a few consider leasehold. So, basically, it's Bukit, and that's where Park Blue is being built. Many people went. There is another very large one there right now. I can't talk about it yet. They asked me not to. It's very large, so yes. On 500 hectares it is being gathered. I always have a lot of skepticism.
I don't know who this is, but when I hear about something super big, the question arises, do they have experience? Do they know how? Do they understand? Because I've seen it happen when different players come in. At first everything is on a grand scale, but then the project doesn't take off.
Well, yes, but it's more of a joint team of Indonesians, meaning it's under the government.
The thing about Bukit, as I understand it, the infrastructure there is not yet as developed. And the prices are not as high as in Canggu. Firstly, there's plenty of space to move around. It's a fairly large area, and so, as it were, now those who invest now will be able to see significant growth in 5 to 7 years.
Yes, it's a combination of factors. The airport is close, and there are no traffic jams like in many other areas. There in Seminyak, Canggu, you can always get to the airport by taking the road along the beach, for example. To Dreamland, it's 20 minutes to the airport. Roads are being built there. There are places to build roads there. They are connecting Nusa Dua with Uluwatu, yes. That's why for all 14 years in Bali, I have been living there, in that area. Yes, in the Nusa Dua area. It's very convenient. There are never any traffic jams. Super accessible transport. You get straight onto the toll road and everything is perfect. If you don't have to go to Canggu, then everything is perfect.
Essentially, when an investor comes to us, we say, look, there are 3 main locations where there is investment property. This is Canggu and everything to the west of it. Near Canggu, there is Seminyak, and if you go further west, you get to Perarenan, Sese, and Chumagi, that side. This is Bukit, everything we just discussed. Uluwatu, Nusa Dua, Jimbaran, and so on. And then there's the Ubud side. Ubud should not be underestimated either.
Yes, of course, Ubud also has good profitability. Often it shows a higher ROI than in Canggu because the entry price is lower. The entry price is much lower.
The land there is more than 10 times cheaper.
Yes, exactly like that. So yes, some of our most profitable properties are located in Ubud.
So, if we draw a clear line and conclusions, You would specifically recommend investors to consider two main locations right now, Bukit and Ubud. As far as I understand, if they want to increase...
Bukit and Ubud, yes, probably. And the entry price will be reasonable. Of course, Sanur also rents out well.
My next question was about Sanur.
There are practically no properties there.
Sanur rents well.
Rents out quite well.
Sanur is still unclear to me. It seems like there is a promenade. You can walk around. There are some big hospitals being built and so on. But from a tourism perspective, I don't understand him.
It's very convenient to live there. We have several families living there with children. And it's very convenient for them. They step out and walk straight to the beach. A calm beach. Calm water. Where else is there calm water? Only in the north of the island, right? Very compact. Restaurants, shops. There are good shops. The best grocery store is Lucky Plaza. The best store is located. And everything is very compact. Good transportation accessibility again. No traffic jams. That's why indeed.
So, would you recommend also looking towards Sanur?
You can take a look. It's not very big on its own. Regarding Bukit and Ubud, there is a vast amount of land around Ubud. Therefore, it is much harder to find anything good there. So, you really need to sit down and figure out what's going on there. There are a few new projects there simply because there is no land, but you can take a look.
And here's the question. But there are still plenty of other places. The north of the island, the east. There's Chandidasa. We know that a complex is going to be built there now. The western part, and there, it's actually super beautiful. I understand that the problem lies in logistics. That is, a tourist arrives and doesn't want to travel more than an hour and a half, 2 hours maximum from the airport. And he hangs out in that triangle, Ubud, Canggu, Bukit. And how do you see tourism developing in Bali over the next 10, 15, 20 years? Or does it specifically depend on such infrastructure projects, for example, like an airport in the northern part of Bali? Yes, that's what we see. What's your vision?
Well, they've been talking about the airport for as long as I've been in Bali. And now it's even been removed from the priority projects. But if we talk about where mass tourism will move next, well, besides Canggu, towards Nusa Dua, there are also promising areas. Good old Seminyak and Canggu are also worth considering if you can find a great deal. At a great price, of course, why not? Umalas again, yes, it's quite a nice area with good accessibility. By the way, you mentioned Shindasa, we also have property under management there. There's Max Fadiv's complex there, for example. It's great and it can also provide good returns. But there you need to be right on the shore, for example. So, as I always said, it's Ubud Bukit after Canggu. Or you can consider many other locations in Bali if you are right on the beach. So, we have a villa complex towards the port to Java, and there are mostly just Indonesians there. But they are also recovering well. There is good occupancy.
That's where Jimbaran will be, where Paramount Park will be located.
Yes.
This will be the new point of attraction. Or another hypothesis, for example, if you are ready, if you want to build somewhere in Chandidasa, be prepared to create the infrastructure yourself. Don't expect them to build roads, restaurants, or anything else for you there, like Parkyu does, for example. They create a complex and build infrastructure around it, making it potentially interesting for those who, firstly, live there permanently, want peace and quiet, because in Ubud, it is sometimes far from quiet as well. So, essentially, only this model. Yes, I was talking about the complex in Chandidasa. Everything is inside there.
There's even a zoo inside? That is, yes, that's what makes it different.
And if we are talking about the neighboring islands to Bali, because I often communicate with developers and they ask me questions, and why don't they consider, for example, Sumba, Sumbawa, Lembongan, Nusa Penida? Yes, although when you look at the map, Lembongan and Nusa Penida are really close by. When I see Bali travel agencies and photos of Nusa Penida, those beautiful beaches, are you looking in that direction to acquire some properties there, or do you still see it as a more risky venture?
Well, we also have a property in Lombok, but still, mass tourism there is growing very slowly. So it's not a prospect even for the coming years. And there are more than 5.
It's the influencers who should go there and promote it, to make it prestigious, attractive, and appealing to come to Lombok. Take a selfie and tag the location as Lombok so your friends will give you likes. That's basically how the world works now. A tourist goes where it's cool, where friends will say it's awesome that you've been there. So this wave of Asian and American influencers, as I understand it, they just haven't arrived there yet.
Well, there's another aspect. There's a metric for the number of times tourists return to a single resort over their lifetime. And there in Bali, it's 4.5. That's the metric. It's quite high, meaning People keep coming back to the same place, not just visiting once, but they keep coming here again and again. Why it's not related to some beautiful views, it's not related, I don't know, to blue water, which is only somewhere on the Gili Islands. And this is related to the culture, with the culture of the Balinese, and it is precisely the Balinese culture that they somehow preserve and prevent from being diluted in the largest Muslim country in the world. That's why it's difficult to talk about other locations or islands around here, because they lack this essential and unique factor of Balinese culture in particular. However, the direction towards Papua, Raja Ampat, Komodo, and there's also Canggu, yes, the best airport in the world. This is Singaporean, this is Changi. They leased the airport there for 50 years. They are planning to develop an international airport there, meaning there is also a grand construction project underway. They are looking to develop their direction, but that's not in the coming year.
So for now, you would recommend looking at Bali. Moreover, in Bali, there are also more understandable and, let's say, more predictable options. Where are you investing now? And is there almost a guaranteed, well, not guaranteed, but 100% chance of growth?
That's it. Got it, watching Bali.
All right, and if we understand this here, then Bali, for now, we are observing and watching. Again, everything will heavily depend on large infrastructure projects, what and where they will build, and the tourist flow will follow. And what if we perhaps compare Bali and Thailand? Because this is a common question. That is, right now, places like Phuket, Koh Phangan, and so on are quite popular. And it seems like there are very different audiences for Thailand and Bali. In Thailand, there's the legalization of marijuana and much more. People are more free and so on. So Bali is more about spirituality, culture, and so on. And how can you evaluate it from a business and numbers perspective? How does Thailand differ from Bali, and to what extent? And Bali from Thailand?
Yes, but we have a property in Thailand, and the profitability there is significantly lower. That is by about 40-50%.
So 5%?
No, but if you count from 12 there, they can get about 7-8%. Well, first of all, it's mostly related to seasonality, meaning that in Bali it practically doesn't exist. So it's just flat, right? Either average or high, peak or average again, yes. Yes, and there are a few months in the year when there are no tourists at all. And the prices are not dropping by 20-30% like back home, but rather by several times, like 5%. Hence, there is very low occupancy. And there are a large number of apartments there, as they are building all these high-rises, condominiums. So the supply there is quite large, which ultimately results in lower profitability. Why do you think that is? Are investors now going there and investing in Phuket? Well, maybe some people just prefer Thailand, because it might be more understandable in terms of, I don't know, laws or something. Or the land there is freehold.